All right. All right. I'd like to introduce Michelle Cavanaugh from Dare. Uh, she was a huge impact in my recovery. I'll give you a little bit of backstory. So I was doing some brain retraining. I did the Dare, I did the DNRS, and I was dealing with 70 symptoms, right? More than 70, right?
Hmm.
It was a shit show. I had two safe foods, the OCD looping thoughts. I was a mess, right? So I was doing the brain retraining. I started healing. The more I healed physically, the more my mental alarms started to skyrocket, and I was stuck.
Hmm.
And somehow I got introduced to Dare. I started doing the Dare app, and then I started watching your videos. And this was the missing key to my recovery because it was like the OCD elephant in the room was being ignored. People weren't talking
Hmm.
about it. They didn't really know how to deal with it. They just kept saying distract, stop, redirect, ignore it, right? And that's what I learned to do. And things got worse and worse. My alarms got bigger and bigger and bigger. And it was, I missed my physical symptoms. I wish I had them back over the mental
Yeah.
symptoms. So you were a major missing piece. And I was literally some of your videos I would watch sometimes. I would screen record them and I had them there as like my
Hmm.
safety zone
Hmm.
to, 'cause I would forget things during this journey, right? My brain go,
Sure.
oh, everything you learned yesterday, forget it, it's out the window.
Hmm.
So I would literally watch some of your videos on and off throughout the day, like 16 times, especially the intrusive thoughts one, the one
Hmm.
about extinction bursts, a bunch of other ones,
Oh,
just so
the
that,
setbacks with the
right.
blue curves. Hmm.
Yeah, the curves that go like this, right? With
Hmm.
the dogs that go, you go,
Yeah.
right. So I had to watch them over and over and over again so that I would have my brain kept getting the evidence of faith to cross over that invisible bridge and to trust the process. And I got through it. Sure, I fell on my face 1,000 times,
Hmm.
but you were the missing key. That's why it's so important that, the anxiety part, if people can learn this stuff, the physical part just follows suit,
Hmm.
right? If
Hmm.
you can learn this shit, and get it, everything else will follow. So I want to thank you because you were a huge part of my
Thank
life.
you. That's so nice to hear. You
I
never
would
know what
cry, but I'm
happens
too
when you put
happy. I
that
can't I can't cry, but you mean the world to me, really, honestly. I'm happy that I have you here. It's amazing.
I'm happy
Thank
to
you.
be here. I love to be able to come here. This is great.
Awesome. Okay, just gotta make sure we're recording. Okay, so I got a bunch of I didn't know what to ask them. Like, well, I gotta pretend like this is all new to me, right? So then I started to think, what were the things that I wanted to know? What were the things that were golden nuggets to me? So I went over some of the things. Maybe get us a little gist about you, and then
Hmm.
we'll talk about the resistance with the OCD and how, what you resist persist type of thing.
Yeah, sure. So, my name is Michelle Cavanaugh, licensed clinical social worker, function as a coach for DARE. I write a lot of the clinical content along with Aida Becco. We put up a lot of the content on the app. I post for like all the social media posts. I post under my name, The Anxiety Paradox, and I share it on all the DARE Facebook pages. I've been with DARE for 15 years. Another 15 years of experience before that, something like that, 10, 15 years. Social worker in New York, in the Bronx, in Westchester. Moved here in North Carolina last year. And it's so crazy how starting to work with DARE, I was just like every other therapist before I got DARE. It's not like I had this information before. Like you teach what you're taught. And it just kind of keeps following along. And when I first, Barry, oh, that's this. Now, fast forward, it's like, how could there be anything else? Like DARE is
Yeah.
all about this. It's not a special secret sauce. It's not a special technique that you have to work on. It's really kind of like teaching people how to do nothing, how to cease effort, how to allow, which is not work. It's not trying to allow, is not allowing. And it's hard to teach because I'm not teaching people to do more. I'm teaching you how to do less. And the world of anxiety, especially OCD, is okay, we're going to work real hard on that. We're really going to try and do less and try and do it right. Perfectionist mindset usually comes into play where everything, if I do it perfect or I fail, then I'm stuck like this forever. So there is more about like intention, like the intention you take. And so, I mean, I'm trained in CBT. I've had training in EMDR. I've had, like, if you're my age, like if you're younger, usually people get trained in one thing and they stay in that one thing forever. And this is right and everything's wrong.
Right.
I'm kind of like,
Yeah.
back in the day, it was like cool to learn different approaches, like how to use different paintbrushes to paint on a canvas. And this is useful for certain things, and this is useful. So, like,
Yeah.
we get lots of training and lots of different things, and it's great if used with the right intention. So,
Mhm.
anything, even dare, can be used with the intention of trying to get rid of. Did it
Right.
work? Dare didn't work, or CBT doesn't work, or somatic therapy doesn't work because I tried it, but I still feel, or I'm still having thoughts and they still bother me. And if you can use any approach, but if the intention and the mindset and the expectation is elimination of discomfort, that's probably what started the disorder. Trying to get rid of a thought, a feeling, a physical sensation, a memory, a what if. Right? It's an elimination. Trying so hard to fight something, it's the fight that keeps you stuck. So that's kind of like dare in a nutshell, and this overall approach in a nutshell.
Yeah. It's like we're trying to get rid of what? What are we trying to get rid of? Danger.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
keeps the alarms on, right? And it's
Mm-hmm.
doing its
Mm-hmm.
job. It's doing it perfectly.
Right.
Right. Amazing. Okay. Yeah. So let's give an example. Let's say you have looping thoughts about certain symptoms, right? You get a symptom and you're looping on it, and then I say just allow it, and but they say, well, how do I stop these looping thoughts? Like, how do I? But what kind of tips or what would you say to do in that
Yeah. So
situation?
here's my body's doing something. Your example, I feel vibrations in my body, and I'm having looping thoughts about whatever. What if this lasts forever? It's never going to go away. This is going to make me go crazy. I'm not going to be able to handle this. What if it's MS? What if it's I'm here hooked to health anxiety? Am I hitting all the?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's the main ones.
yeah. They're all
Yeah.
just shitty ideas of things that could. We tend to have this strong negativity bias. And so now I'm having thoughts about physical sensations. My body is doing blank right now. And so, like, in order to allow something, you have to learn how to be more of an observer of it, like Claire Week style. So it's really about, I notice my body's doing blank right now, period. Anything beyond that, this is one of my posts a while ago. Generally, anything beyond that period is usually where the disorder is. Because somebody else's body might be vibrating the same way your body's vibrating, but their story about it is different. They're saying, oh, I don't know, my body does this weird thing sometimes. I'm stressed out. This is what my body does when I'm stressed, period. Same amount of discomfort. They don't like it as much as the other person doesn't like it, but they kind of naturally just leave it be. And they don't try hard to leave it be. This is kind of like my husband, kind of born that way. I don't know, these people that are just leave things alone. And we are just not good. We're good at getting involved and figuring it out. We treat everything as problems to be solved. I don't like vibrations. Let's do something to get rid of it. Cue the beginning of the disordered relationship with my vibrating body. You know?
This is where I think that the brain, it sends you that on purpose because it wants you to investigate for that liger on your back. So this is why you feel like you have to
Liker.
do something, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's doing its job. It's just that we have to, change our approach, which seems, it's like you said, it's like a paradox. It's like counterintuitive,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, because your alarm is designed. I was like, this guy, he shows up to alert you to, like, his factory settings are snakes and volcanoes and danger and murderers and fire. So fear in a heightened state is for danger. Here's the plug, and it goes into the danger outlet. Problem is, he might have alerted you to the wrong thing or just misfired at the wrong time. Again, maybe um, a trigger from a past trauma, maybe medication side effect, maybe hormones, maybe I was sick, maybe I'm stressed for whatever reason. This guy rang at the wrong time and he's meant to hook to something. So he hooks to whatever. And like as long as we continue to fight or to flee or to freeze or to protect ourselves from whatever he's sending the fear for, this thing stays marked as danger. Right? So I am the queen of intrusive thought. I have millions of them a day. I don't have a disordered relationship with those thoughts. I'm just good at having really shitty thoughts. My alarm hooked to my stomach and nausea. And so overnight, well, not overnight, in the middle of Pulp Fiction at the movie theater, I went from plain old 17-year-old Michelle to brand new, like very much not improved Michelle of, oh my gosh, my stomach. I thought I was going to throw up. What if I get sick? I have to get out of here. Oh, thank goodness. Felt like I was going to get sick and I didn't. What if it happens again? What if it happens in the car with my friends? And then it generalizes to the classroom, to church, to not being the driver, to being dropped off somewhere. And suddenly I'm hooked to my stomach as if my stomach is the problem. And really, my stomach was never the problem. My stomach became the identified problem. You know, it's a hard thing to explain.
Yeah, it's just like I say, it's not the food, it's not the lime, it's not the mold, it's not the fill in the blanks, right? It just got the bad rap, right? It's you trying to get rid of it and trying to figure it out that brings the baseline up, and you're fighting, you're resisting, brings the baseline up, so it sends more alarms, and then we're stuck with this cycle of all these alarms that we don't like,
Right.
right? We
So
feel
there's
uncomfortable.
anxiety, right? That may have contributing factors with stressors or biology or sensitivity or whatever, that I may experience more anxiety than others, or certain things happen that fluctuate my levels. And then there's an anxiety disorder, which is the battle of those fluctuating levels of anxiety. And what happens, especially with, like, I view most anxiety disorders as taking an OCD form, where anxiety is actually the O. And all of the things that we do, which usually ends up being a lot of the stuff in the wellness world, and a lot of, like, let's say somebody's just feeling I'm just feeling anxious and it would be nice to feel less anxious, or I'm not sleeping well and I would like to improve my sleep. World of Wellness works great for that group of people. Oh, have you listened to circadian rhythm? Oh, let's look into that. Oh, I found that super helpful, because it's with a lighter approach. It's with a lighter touch. But when we have a must or else mindset, when it's, I must get rid of this feeling of anxiety. It's ruining my life. It's going to take over. If I don't sleep, I'm going to go crazy. I'm afraid I'm going to lose control and hurt my family. Suddenly, sleep or anxiety or thoughts becomes the must or else danger. And then the world of wellness becomes compulsion. And that's
Yeah.
what's sold out there. And so people with an anxiety disorder are usually, by the time they come to us, super exhausted, super frustrated, because they're like, well, I tried sniffing my lavender and breathing through the tube and touching my face and box breathing and all the things. But with an anxiety disorder, it takes kind of an opposite approach. I have to get better at being anxious, or have thoughts, or I have to get better at being disconnected, rather than trying to do a million things to feel more connected.
Right. It's like you have to, I see it like this. I say, you have to learn to feel like shit and be okay with it. It's like, that's how you send a message of safety, of how you sit in the danger. So when we open that door, we got to face what's behind it. And that's the old program. If you want to introduce the new program, you got to feel the old program and send a different response. So I tell people, you got to feel like shit. Right? You need to. It's like, really? Like, yes, it's a
Yeah.
good thing.
Yeah.
Like, oh, so that's like the extreme version of taking away the resistance, right? I
Yeah.
like to go
That would be run
crazy with it.
towards, right? That's the R of dare. So dare is diffuse
Yeah.
the fight of. So it's my little, so here, I don't know if you've seen this on the
Yes.
YouTube, right? So
Yeah.
thoughts, feelings, sensations, what ifs, memories, these are all the things people are struggling with. Okay. And so dare is for the struggle, not what you're struggling with. It's the fight that maintains the problem, the habit, right? And so dare is that you're diffusing DE, not DI. We're not trying to bring your thoughts from an 8 to a 4. That's still trying to control. We're here to diffuse your fight of thoughts because there's been like a false fusion. Fear has falsely fused itself to the wrong thing. Whoops, it's not snakes. Works good for snakes. It fused itself to thoughts, and now thoughts feel danger. I don't know how else to describe that, but for people who've never
Have that water
experienced
thing
that false fusion.
with the sand.
Oh, yeah. Well, that one's back there, but I have my snow globe here. Yeah. And so, yeah, it turns on, but all the doing keeps it on. And
Yeah.
non-doing is what allows it to shut down whenever it is that it does.
Right. Okay. Yes. The content of the thought is irrelevant. That's another
Irrelevant.
one.
Mhm.
Right. So it's and I know at that moment when you have the content there, unless it's something that's really happening, like if you really have, like you mentioned, like if there's really a liger in your room,
Yeah, if
then
I
that's real.
am on fire, right,
Yeah.
then I'm going to attend to the fire, but I can have a thought about anything. I can have a thought about a flamingo. I can have a thought about having sex with a flamingo. Just try to go as far out there, right?
Yeah.
I might feel one way thinking about a flamingo and feel disgust or horror or that's gross about having sex with a flamingo. Guess which ones we fight? The one that creates the uncomfortable feeling. So we either hook meanings to the thoughts. Am I sexually attracted to flamingos? Does that mean if I don't fight these thoughts, I might take action on them? Like we forget free will. We think thoughts are meaningful when really they're like brain sensations. You know, your heart makes beats, your brain makes thoughts. You notice your thoughts. I notice the same way I was talking about your body. I notice I'm having a thought about a flamingo right now, and I'm in no more danger of thinking about something pleasant as I am thinking about something unpleasant. We just tend to hook into the content that we find unpleasant. They're usually ego dystonic thoughts. That means it goes against your grains and values, right? And so we battle the things we don't like. So I'm used to people coming to me with the worst content ever. That makes sense. Nobody's fighting, what if I win the lottery? They're fighting, what if I eat the cat?
Right. What I try to tell people is, I know in the middle of the thickness of it, you feel like, so, the content of the thought is irrelevant. So if I allow it, will it eventually go away? But it doesn't. I don't believe that it will. It's just, well, fully allow it by not having any conditions, no strings attached, and not looking to see if it's gone. So you got to be okay with it being there next week. Actually invite it to be there for the next month.
Right.
And if it's not there on time, go, where are you? Right. And fully, no conditions, allow it to be there. And that's when it monitors you and says, okay, you know what? I think we can turn that alarm off because this person obviously is not in danger.
That's the weird part. That's the part I talk about on all my one-to-one calls constantly because yes, that's true. If you kind of just like you have a great background to practice on. I do this all the time on webinars or one-to-one calls. Like your background is bright and it's colorful and it catches your attention. But throughout the call, I am aware of it, like, and not aware of it, and you're probably not even aware of it, and it works without effort. You become unaware of something because there's no effort involved there. And so your brain has this cool way of maintaining focus and attention to what you're telling it to maintain focus and attention to. And even if it's the brightest thing in the room, it has a way of, as long as you're kind of treating it as, oh yeah, that's fine. That's obvious, but it's not important. What's important is like, I'm looking at your face, but I'm not trying to look at your face. I'm not trying to not notice the background. There's no effort. And so as a byproduct, it kind of falls into this area of unawareness. You become unaware of the background. Now you might become aware and unaware throughout the call, but seeing it again doesn't matter. But anytime a question comes in of, but it'll go, right? Yes, but not if you're asking me that question. Because if you're asking
Yes.
me that question, you're
Yeah.
still checking to see as long as it's gone, I'm fine. And if it's still there, I still have a disorder. It's still not recovered. I'm not doing it right. And so there's more effort being expended.
Yeah. Using it as a weapon. I think you mentioned it.
Mm-hmm.
Using it as a weapon to get rid of. So it's
Right.
like just like everything else we use to get rid of it. It's like, okay, here are some methods, try that. But the methods say to allow it. Okay, well, I'm gonna use that also as a weapon. That's what
Exactly.
happens.
Exactly. So you can't allow something and then expect it to change. Like I can't say, oh yeah, your backdrop's fine. And then spend the rest of the call going, oh my God, we just changed that background. How many more minutes till it's over? Oh God, if we ever talk again, I hope he doesn't have. Now you're revving your internal engine, right? Your car's in park, but you're stepping on the gas and it's doing nothing. It's not changing. Mentally fighting your backdrop is not changing your backdrop. It just puts all my attention on your backdrop now.
It magnifies. It's like if you
Yeah.
put focus on it, it
Mm-hmm.
does magnify. I
Mm-hmm.
remember you had pictures of it going like this and like this, and it's all you see.
Yep. Yep. It's like illumination and magnification. It shines a light on what, if you're trying to get rid of something, the message this guy gets is that thing shouldn't be here. It must be some version of danger. It must be
Right.
impacting their life. So if you are like a mechanic and your assistant's holding the flashlight for you, it's going to keep holding the flashlight on whatever you're working on. But you're only working on it because this guy's holding the flashlight for it. And so it doesn't know when to stop because it only stops helping you when you stop doing shit. And because
Yeah.
it's a doing disorder, well, I'm going to keep doing until the thing I'm doing something about is gone.
Right. So, okay, intrusive thoughts. How you don't like how people call it intrusive.
Yeah, but I'm getting better at the term. Because to me,
Yeah.
because it comes with this idea that it's like usually viewed as like an intruder. It's not allowed. Like if something's
Right.
breaking into my home, this shouldn't be here. And intrusive thoughts are a sign of an anxiety disorder, are a sign of OCD, and they are not.
Right.
They are not. Struggling with intrusive thoughts is often a sign of an anxiety disorder. Struggling with them, but having them, the whole world experiences intrusive thoughts, right? Have you ever seen my ants? My pictures of my ants? I don't have a video of this yet. This could be the first video of them, maybe. This is how
No,
I
no.
talk about, okay. Can you see
Okay,
these
go ahead.
ants?
Yeah. Yep.
Any special feeling about them? No. Okay. So we generally don't love them. They're on the ground. We walk around them. We notice them. We might not like them, but we leave them alone. This is how ants look like when you're not in a heightened sensitized state. Okay. Kind of like intrusive thoughts, right? They're here. You like, oh yeah, imagine I jumped out that window. But they're more muffled, right? They're more muffled. You don't hear them as much. And so you leave them alone. When you are in a heightened sensitized state, this ant looks like this. The ant doesn't get bigger. Your magnification lens has expanded or whatever, gone up. And now everything looks louder. It packs more of a punch. Your bother factor is up. And so it feels more, you're more sensitive to
Hmm.
intrusive thoughts. And so it's not that you have necessarily more of them. I don't think I was any more nauseous. I was probably magnified nauseous and stayed locked in on them. So these intrusive thoughts become magnified and we look at them and we latch to them. And now we don't let go until they're gone.
Right. The letting go, I understand it's hard to do because it's like a sticky magnet that just doesn't let you it holds on to you while you try. Okay,
Mm-hmm,
I'm gonna engage now, right? And then
mm-hmm,
it just
mm-hmm.
won't let you. So
Yeah.
that's a hard one.
Yeah.
Do you have any tips for that?
Especially since the thoughts are viewed as danger. Again, the hanging on doesn't come from the thoughts. It comes from us struggling with thoughts. The latch is from us because I have the same thoughts somebody else does, but I'm like, I just have them. I don't hook to them. I don't have a meaning attached to them. Even if they come paired with a feeling of bothered, but I don't do anything special for that. Just like there's people who don't give a shit about nausea, but they hook to thoughts, right? Like nobody likes nausea any more or any less. They hate it, but they're better at not liking that. So intrusive thoughts are, I notice I'm having a thought about blank right now. I don't like it. Like you get to do, like allowing something, you get to do two things. You get to notice what is. I notice you have a beard. I notice your backdrop is orange. I notice I just had a thought about spaghetti. Yup. Notice what is, acknowledge it. That's the first level of things. And then the next set is, ooh, that's a solid beard. I like that beard. Or, ooh, I hate that beard. I don't like beards. So you can have, you notice what is, and you can have an opinion about what is. You can find it pleasant. You can find it unpleasant. And that's it. Again, anything beyond that period is the disorder. So I just had a thought about punching my neighbor across the street. Ooh, I don't like that thought. I'm not a neighbor puncher. Ooh, and I don't like the feeling that came paired with the thought. Now, intrusive thoughts, we tend to now take action for two different reasons. One is now I want to make sure I don't lose control and punch the neighbor. Now I'm actually fighting the content of the thought, trying to make sure I don't go crazy or hurt my kids or murder or drive off the bridge. Now I need to take action to make sure those thoughts don't spontaneously happen, right? And then the other half of the reason why we battle those thoughts are because it comes paired with such an awful feeling. If I can just get rid of this thought, I'll get rid of this feeling.
Right. So I find that the allowing is huge, but you need to have the other half of the engagement to finish off the equation. Because then if we allow all day, we're stuck again, it seems.
Right, because engaging, like in the beginning, when I started working with DARE, I'd say, right, like diffuse, allow, reinforce, and then engage. But after years, I'm like, stuff. We're engaging somewhere, but something caught our attention. Okay, yeah, that's fine. That's allowed. I can have even more of it. But then we stay there and we stay engaged in the thought. So I don't have to, something caught my attention. I don't have to stay here just because I don't like it. I can take my eyes off of it because the crux of all of this is because what we're fighting is inherently safe. Thoughts about anything are safe, which means something caught my attention, but continuation of spending my energy here is not necessary. I'm not staying alive. I'm not doing anything useful, and I don't enjoy it. So if I don't enjoy it, if it's not useful, if it's not serving a purpose, it's probably habitual, or I'm trying to control it. So here's this thought, and now that thought's allowed to be there while I carry on and do whatever I was doing before this caught my eye. And
Right.
like what people forget is like we do this thousands of times a day with everything else just because we're not aware of unawareness. We don't notice all the times that a shadow catches my eye and I glance and I look to see what's creating that black spot. If it was a giant spider, I would stop my conversation, attend to the danger. When the danger is resolved, I would come back to the conversation. But if it's just a shadow, I would go, oh, that caught my attention. It's just a shadow. And so like all of it, it's all a shrug. It's all like, oh yeah, that caught my attention, but doesn't need further involvement. So back to the conversation, even if I'm still aware of this shadow, I don't have to try to not notice the shadow. I don't have to purposely go through every step of D and A and R and E. It's all meant to be an attitude of nothing, doing nothing.
Some people might ask, well, what's the difference between engaging and distracting? Isn't that the same thing,
Yeah.
technically?
Well, engaging is I'm looking at this because this is what I want to look at. Distracting is I'm looking at this, so I don't look at this.
Right.
This distraction is this will still be the subject of my behavior. This will still, looking here will still be, this will still be the reason why I'm looking here. But instead it's, oh yeah, that's here, but this is your ticket out. It seems too simple. I know if some people are watching this, they're like, she don't know what my thoughts are. There's no way she experienced this, but it's our over involvement that keeps us stuck. And so getting unstuck and getting involved back in life might even make you feel more heightened because this guy's like, oh my God, why are you taking your eye off of that thing? Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Hello, look at this. And it's, I see that, thank you. My further involvement doesn't serve a purpose. So that's allowed to be here. Thoughts are safe. And it's your behavior. That's the language he understands, the language of behavior, how you're treating something. All my anxiety, OCDers, all of us, we tend to be neck up people. We do a lot of mouth to head and we say all the right things and all the mantras and all the, what should I say? I accept and allow, I accept and allow, I accept and allow. Words should be paired to the attitude or to the behavior or to whatever. We tend to try and say something so something clicks in our head and then it all falls neck down. But
Yeah, you can
really
say a
just
word a million times.
intellectualization.
It means nothing.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Was another thing that I remember going through this before was a lot of the information on the internet, like this stuff that you're teaching is like unicorn stuff. It's hard to find a lot of bullshit information out there. A lot of, well, be in the present moment to hide from your thoughts. Like, don't go in the past, don't go in the future because anxiety will get you. Be in the present moment. And I was like, well, anxiety will get you in the past, in the future, but it'll get you in the present moment just as well. And you're hiding from your thoughts in the present moment. So that's resistance. So what you resist persists. So that doesn't make any sense. People are counting backwards or looking at trees. They're like, this is a bottle, and right here there is, right. They're totally distracted. And I was doing that, and it was making things worse. So a lot of bad information out there that just, especially with OCD, it just adds fuel to the fire. Right.
There's a lot of good tools out there that are used for with the wrong intention. It's like, I could have the best screwdriver in the world, but if I'm trying to hammer in a nail, it's not with its intended purpose. Grounding's a good example, like what you were saying. Find 5 purple things, touch 2 yellow things. In therapy world, it's very useful for trauma work. It's very useful for when you're working with somebody here and you're kind of going back there for a period of time where there was probably some version of danger. And now you're here, okay? And so somebody gets very lost in a memory, back there feels like here. And now I'm scared and I'm kind of lost and I'm not sure where I am. Grounding is great for, wow, I feel really scared here while I'm remembering back there. But you know what? I don't smell smoke. That was in the past. I smell like my clean clothes. I don't see my house burning down. I see my desk. I see that yellow sign over there. That makes sense, right? That seems useful. It's been warped, and now grounding is to calm down. And it's done frantically. It's done, I'm in a heightened state. I need to hurry up and find something purple and lick 3 blue things and hurry. And we forget the order. And I don't even know the order off the top of my head, but it's done with a frantic intention of trying to not be in the state that I'm in.
Right. So that brings me to exposure, doing exposure the right way and doing exposure the wrong way. I always thought exposure was just, you just go towards something and you survive through it. And you're happy when you're done after. And that was the wrong way.
Yeah. See, it's like, again, it's this one piece that's missing. I was saying on, I thought this was what my post the other day. My opinion is all exposure should be ERP based. ERP is like basically the standard of treatment for OCD, which is exposure and response prevention. Typically you'll hear it's about, here's my obsessions and be exposing myself, allowing myself to be around the thing that creates the bother, the angst, the urge, the whatever, and changing my response. Basically, leaving that shit alone. Noticing all the behaviors I do to try and alleviate that discomfort and not doing those things. And it's no different than being at a bridge, because overall, like the mindset is, oh yeah, if I go to the bridge enough times, I lose my fear of the bridge. Right. If you go to the bridge willingly and you treat the bridge as safe and you treat what your body does while you're on the bridge as safe, Sure, naturally, your body will stop sending you fear because you're not using it. Just like naturally, I became tuned out of your backdrop until I just tuned back into it again. That stuff does happen. But if the intention is just going to get through, and so before you get to the bridge, you're doing 3 hours of breath work and positive affirmations, prepping yourself for the exposure. You're good, Michelle. You're going to be fine. You can do this. You'll be okay. It's fine. You're basically prepping yourself for war. You're bracing yourself for danger.
Yeah.
Then you go to the bridge. And if you're with your therapist who's charging $400 an hour, who's going, we did it 12 minutes yesterday. We're going to do it 13 minutes today. And you can do it. Just one more minute to go and hang it. You're fine, right? You're fine. You're fine. You're like, oh my God, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. You're okay. You're good. You do hard things. I'm fine. You're not acting like you're safe. You're acting like you're surviving. And that's what he sees, your survival behaviors. And when you come off the bridge, then you go, like, oh, he's safe now. He let go off the bridge. So he hung on through the bridge and he let go after the bridge. So where he hangs on must be danger. Where he lets go must be safe. We're going to write that down. Next time he goes to that bridge, we're going to preemptively whoosh him for the bridge so he can use it to hang on. So that's how he remembers danger, how you acted where you are. So if you don't change your behaviors and you're continuing to go out and survive through exposures, you're going to end up having the opposite effect. It's going to reinforce fear. It's going to tell this guy, well, keep sending me fear. That was a survivable thing. And since I'm still alive, that fight was useful.
Right. Exactly. Okay. Setbacks. Let's talk about setbacks and how I noticed then when people, well, during this journey, I usually say, especially if you got 70 symptoms, don't think that just because you're doing the methods that during this journey that you're going to have a lot of relief. Usually, you're going to feel like shit. Usually in the beginning, things get worse. And just because you feel like shit and your symptoms are happening does not mean that the finish line isn't approaching. But we don't have the evidence right away, but it's happening in the distance. It's going to happen. And then you get the setbacks and you lose all faith. You have more doubt and you think you're special. You think you're, actually, maybe I am sick. Maybe my mitochondria is fucked. Maybe I have a biome issue, right?
Yeah.
So
And here comes
like
the
having the faith.
perfectionist black and white mindset too of either I'm symptom free and recovered, or it's back. Oh my God, now I'm back to square one. And now I have to dig myself out of this hole again. Okay, is this going to be me? Is this my life? So every day I get just like a glimpse of hope, and then it's thrown back. That notice the descriptive language. Notice the all or nothing. Notice the, as long as I'm sensation free, I'm fine. But as soon as I feel anxious again, we treat the return of discomfort as a setback. But really, it's the return of the fight of discomfort, which is actually a setback, return of old behaviors. Like, this comes up on the DARE forums all the time. Like, hey guys, so I've been doing pretty good. I was struggling with insomnia, but I've been sleeping great for the last few months. Okay. Now that I'm sleeping fine, now I am fine until, like, you kind of already know what the rest is going to be, until either there was a context or not. I've been stressed out, or I was sick, or for no particular reason, kind of doesn't matter. I couldn't sleep. And now I'm struggling with sleep again. So really, it's not the fact that I didn't sleep again. I am a terrible sleeper. So there's weeks that I sleep great and weeks that I don't sleep well, but I don't treat my fluctuating sleep as this is fine. This is a return of a problem. I just not a great sleeper, but it's the same habits that we attach back to it. So treating sleeping poorly as the setback is actually what starts the setback. Oh my God, it's back is the problem that returns. That's tricky to communicate sometimes.
Yeah, it's when this, it's like I say when people say, oh, I had a good 2 weeks, really good 2 weeks, but then Then I say, well, no, you don't want the good weeks. You want the bad weeks. Those are the opportunities. You want those. They're like,
Yeah.
man, I want this because
It's
I want to
nice
change the
to be
relationship.
anxiety free.
Yeah.
It's nice. Oh, I didn't have a panic attack for 2 weeks. Great. I don't want to have a panic attack. But what happens when you have one? What are the old habits and patterns of behavior when you happen to have a random panic attack again? Because again, all human beings can have the capacity to have a release of adrenaline at the wrong time. Just because you have a panic attack doesn't mean your panic disorder is that. Panic disorder is where panic attack is now the obsession. And now I'm only okay if I never have another one. And when I have another one, it's great, it's back. Now I have to go back and listen to all the podcasts and do all the things. And it's the same over involvement and stopping life because of a return of discomfort.
Yeah, totally. Um, so I covered setbacks. What about, the
Oh,
extinction
sorry. Can I
burst?
say one more thing about setbacks?
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is one of my videos from a while ago. I have a video of my daughter jumping rope. I don't know if you saw it. And I was saying, progress, like how to mark progress, a good way to mark progress and a better way to mark progress. And one of them was she's jumping rope. I do this with my kids, like playing ball, like you throw, how many times can you catch the ball before you drop it, right? Fun game we all play with our kids. 3, 4, oh, he dropped it. Good job, we got 4. So she was doing it
Yeah.
with jump rope, and you count 1, 2, 3, 4, and she messed up. And then she go, good job, you got 4. Okay, let's try again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Mess up. You got 8 this time. Great. All right, let's go again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we've all played that game. A better way to measure progress. 1, 2, 3, 4. Mess up. Okay, let's go again. 5, 6, 7. Mess up. Mess up. Mess up. Mess up. 8, 9, 10, 11. You don't go back to the beginning. You just
Right.
pick up where you left off. So sometimes that's helpful to reframe, like back to the beginning. No, if you fall down in the race, you don't go back to the start line and go again. You just get up and keep going.
Right. It's what I like to look at it as it's the fear of the consequences of losing the sleep that I try to get rid of. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I want to change the association with the exposure so much by taking away the resistance that if you lose sleep, you don't give a shit. You're indifferent to it, you know,
Right, right.
and that is a consequence. That's how the symptoms go because you're giving
Mm-hmm.
your body a chance to not fight all the time.
Right. You let yourself not sleep. Most people that struggle with sleep have a danger story hooked to sleep. I'm not going to be able to function at work. I'm going to lose my job. I'm going to snap and go crazy and hurt somebody. I'm never going to sleep and I'm going to be stuck in this permanent state forever. And it's going to be torture. And then I'm going to get depressed and I'm going to have suicidal thoughts. And what if I kill myself? Oh my God, I don't want to kill myself. How do I prevent myself from killing myself? Must sleep. And then we come back to trying to control this thing and this thing is going to turn into something danger, right? When really it's, again, for people who just happen to not sleep well, the world of wellness works. Oh, try a weighted blanket, adjust the temperature in your room. But for somebody with a sleep disorder, my approach is usually then get better at not sleeping, then stay up all night long, then have other things to do. Have a plan for 3 a.m. that's non-anxiety or sleep related. Learn Portuguese on Duolingo. Prep your vegetables. Yeah, but they say that if you get up, it's going to take. We're not in the world of wellness right now. We're in the world of disordered relationship with sleep because then sleep is fused to danger. Not sleeping for tonight is not dangerous. So we're going to get better at not sleeping.
So along this process, there is a extinction burst,
Mm-hmm.
right? Where the brain kind of checks in to make sure, hey, you still want to run that new program? I think it's a survival mechanism just to make sure, right? Because it knows right now you're alive. I don't care if you're suffering, but you're alive right now. And I know
Mm-hmm.
you're promising me that this is the way to heaven, but I don't care. I don't trust you because you've been showing me all these lagers all your life. So I can't trust you. So I can only trust right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Mm-hmm.
think, am I correct that that's why they have the extinction burst? It's kind of like a check in every once in a while to,
Yeah, sure. Something triggered this guy of a remembered danger, right? Whether it was an actual danger from the past, like a traumatic event, or it was a panic attack on the train where it wasn't danger, but fear is the memory sealer anyway. Heightened state, the emotion is what seals the memory in your brain, in your body, right? And so you may go on a train 10 times after you've had that panic attack and nothing. And then, for whatever reason, we tend to get stuck in trying to figure out the whys. It's not really as important, but maybe you were tired, maybe whatever, you didn't sleep well, or you were stressed. For whatever reason, it's like, oh my God, wait, this was danger once before. Hello, crash the symbol, see what you do. And also remember, like, most people who are calling me have this negative story about this guy. He's out to get me. He didn't get me with this thought, but that little fucker, he got me with the other thought. And he, like, now he thought he could, and I'm not going to let him get me. Like, he's lying to me. He's your protector, and his job is to alert you and show you to anything he thinks you may need to do something about. So if you can view it in that mindset, he has a shitty voice. That's why I'm a good person for this. I'm not on all the meditations on the app. I don't have the best, most calming voice. He's supposed to sound awful. If anxiety and fear and pain felt good, we would all die in volcanoes. Right?
Yeah.
If getting eaten by a bear felt like an orgasm, we'd be like, oh my God, I need next bear. Right? But it's not conducive to survival. So feeling awful is to help alert you to then see what he's showing you. Oh, thanks for the fear for what? Oh, I'm just on the train. There's not a bear on the train. So whoops, that's right. You used to alert me to trains back in the day. And for whatever reason, he just got reminded that trains used to be danger, or he thought trains were danger. But I'm looking, and I don't have to use that fear to survive through the train. And I don't have to survive through the fear. I don't have to calm that down either. I can just, this is the hard part, because it's non-effortful, act safe. I don't mean pretend safe. I mean truly just like carry on with what you were doing if you weren't in a heightened state. Keep talking to the person next to you. Keep looking at the window. You don't have to grab your coping skills and calm down. It's still treating fear as the danger, as it needs to be quiet.
Yeah. It's like instead of rushing to the grocery store, drag it out a bit. Have a conversation with that lady that talks about the annoying things that, drives you nuts.
Yep.
Ask another question about her kids and sit there and allow yourself to feel like shit.
Yep.
Embrace that.
Exposure therapy is really like, you don't have the problem. This guy's got a problem. He's a little mixed up. He thinks grocery store is danger. So I am bringing this guy to the grocery store to show him this place is safe. We can stay here all night long. We live here now. It's going to be like a Tom Hanks movie. I live here now in the grocery store, and I'm going to order pizza. We could stay here forever. I had a woman, she was on one of the groups, and she's like, I told him he can scream and have a full-on tantrum all he wants. I am reading every label of beans in the bean section. And she came on the group call and she's like, first of all, you wouldn't believe what's in some cans of beans. You wouldn't believe all the ingredients. But as he's screaming, oh my God, get out, get out, get out, get out. I hear you, but this alert is not particularly useful right now. I'm looking, I don't need to flee from anything. And I don't flee because my body's sending me flee energy. I'm going to sit here. This is hard, but this is where the practice comes in. I can sit here and feel this energy, but purposefully just stay and read these cans of beans, and you can scream the whole time or not. I leave on my terms. I leave when it's time to leave.
Okay. I think you covered like most of the questions that everything.
I did both posted.
Yeah. So, well, it's good. We're at like what, 10 minutes to an hour almost. So, you know what? I'd love to have you on again in a couple of months, because I'm sure there's other things that I'd like to ask you. So this was great. Thank you so much for being on. A lot of people are going to have a lot of golden nuggets from this episode because it helps a lot with all the physical symptoms, and it makes it an easier road to recovery. So thank you very much. That
You're
was amazing. I'm
welcome.
very
Thanks
grateful.
for having me. And yeah, any questions come in, we can go over some other things on the next one.
Yeah. So yeah, send me any of your links on email, and I'm going to put them all in the description. So if you want to get a hold of Michelle for any one-on-one, or if you have any questions, you just look at the description and you can get a hold of her. Awesome.
Great. All right. Well, thank you. I'll see you on the next one.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thanks for having
Have a good
me.
weekend.
You too. Take care. Bye.
Bye.